it is. Make sure y'all get over there to the General's Patreon. We got a fire live stream today. We're going to be talking about the Masonic burials and the Egyptian addiction, which is telling us something that we're not looking deep into what, when we look at these Masonic burials and how they put themselves in mausoleums, with Egyptian regalia, architecture, we talking about millions of dollars here. We're not talking about a couple dollars. We talking about millions of dollars. Why do they do that? You see, it's not, this is not a fad. People think everything is a fad. This is not a fad. This is not a fad. We're talking about some of the richest peoples of all times. When Napoleon went into Egypt in the 1700s, it blew their mind. They have never been able to recover from that. They have never been able to recover from that. What they saw when they went into Egypt. And so people they could call it EGYPTMANIA or thanks family, whatever you want to call it. You see what I'm saying? They seen something that they could no longer ignore. You see, they couldn't ignore the facts. That Egypt was the birth of all culture, civilization, and religion in the world. That's facts. It's facts. The potency of ancient Egypt. Everything else is the cut. Everything else is the cut. Egypt is the potency. That's why when you take the time, that's all you have to do. What am I'm gonna get to what I'm saying here. Potency, not the cut, not the cut. When you sit back and watch and look how so many religions, organizations use Egypt, they latch on to Egypt one way or another. You see, why do they do that? Because Egypt gives legitimacy. Because when people look over at Egypt, they see Egypt is real. You see, Egypt is real. So it lends potency. When they say, oh, we was in Egypt and we, and when people say, oh, the y'all was in Egypt, that lends, that you have some ancient presence. That you have ancient presence. It gives you legitimacy of ancient presence, whether you have it or not. You see, black power to my family out there, whether you have it or not. I was just doing a video on the Jehovah Witnesses. You see, Charles Taz Russell. I've been did that. I was the first one that really woke people up to that. You see people out here now, and but people know, Charles Taz Russell, who was in Egypt. I mean, literally, if you they come and knock, the Jehovah Witnesses come and knock on your door and hand you a watchtower. But Charles Taz Russell was studying the pyramids. Did you see the books that I showed you that he wrote on Egypt? Yeah, he's studying Egypt. He was a pyramidologist. He's saying that the pyramids is one of the witnesses of the Lord. Yeah, saying he's one of the witnesses of the Lord. And the pyramid. So it's a symbol of God, which it is, but not his God. You see? And so here it is, Charles. And did y'all see that Charles Taz Russell got a pyramid for his monument? Got a pyramid for his monument. I believe that's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You see, got a pyramid for his monument. What's his name? Joseph Smith. Joseph, the Mormons. You see, the Mormons, And so he said he found the papyrus of Abraham. And so, and so he found the papyrus of Abraham. And I mean, didn't nobody ask him to say that? Didn't nobody ask him to go say he had no, what? So what does it do? It lends legitimacy. You see, it's first and foremost, it's potency. Because when people say, oh, he had a papyrus of Abraham, with some Egyptian hieroglyphs, and so what that lends legitimacy again. And so that's what they standing on. Without that, what would they have? What would the Mormons have? They wouldn't even have nothing. You see, they wouldn't even have nothing. And so I'm thinking to myself, Jehovah's Witness come and knock on your door and hand you a watchtower, but they leader behind closed doors studying our ancient monuments. Is something wrong with that? Because we look past our ancient monuments. You see, we look past our ancient, we go anywhere other than there. Everybody else on the planet is picking like, they like vultures, and you know what I'm saying? Like little vultures and picking on Egypt, getting a here and there. You can't even get black people to, accept the fact they're dance around the knowledge, and a lot of people say, oh, well, we ain't from Egypt. We from over here, this, that, and the third. Do you notice this? Because I notice it. When it comes to like the Greeks, you know what I'm saying? When you go to universities all over the world, they got that Greek fraternity. All Europeans ain't Greeks. But they identify with that the Greeks is their classical civilization and that's up for debate, but for argument's sake, they all look to Greece as the citadel of Western culture. It don't matter. It don't make no difference what nation they from. It don't make no difference. They all identify with the Greek as being the citadel of Western culture. So when it comes to Egypt, people get to, they get to fumbling, and they don't want this, we from here, we from there. Yeah, but it don't make no difference because this culture was the dominant culture in the world for thousands of years. It don't matter where you was at. It don't matter where you was at. It was the trendsetter for all cultures on, just like the United States today. Is the trendsetter, regardless to where a motherfucker at on the planet. It don't make a difference. It don't make a difference. Everybody biting, and the Indians, they got what they call Bollywood. You see Bollywood, they biting off of Hollywood. It don't make no difference. You see everybody doing it, even if they do it their way, they use the potency of American culture to give a culture some legitimacy. It's the same way. And so, we're going to have to wake up today. And see, these burials, I'm going to get back to these burials. Because when people die, it's not no fad. It's not no fad. People want to know they going to heaven. They want to know they going to the right place. So just, I'm dead and I ain't nothing but bones in the damn coffin. That don't mean that ain't no fad. You know what I'm saying? They want to know that they going to the right place. So how is it that you can have Jews, Christians? I mean, they be of all faiths. I done seen Jewish names on Egyptian mausoleums, and Christians, and names on Egyptian mausoleums. And I'm thinking to myself, I mean, what's really going on here? Do they know something about our culture that we don't know about ourselves? We have to wake up. and tap into that. They come to realize they the one that print them Bibles out and them Qurans. They know they made that up. They know they didn't not all of it, but they know they didn't manipulated it. That's what they did. They didn't manipulated it to that, and it still is not enough. People still didn't woke up even with the manipulation. So we have to tap back in to the potency of our culture, the potency of the now. Everything else is playtime. I'm just going to be, because it's about civilization at the end of the day. You see what I'm saying? It's about civilization. And if we don't have civilization, we ain't got nothing. We back, you understand? We'll be back in the hunter-gatherer stage. You see, so our ancestors brought us up out, and everybody on this planet then benefited from nationhood. Okay? Nationhood, institutions, libraries, universities. You see, this is where, you know, the great culture of Egypt is supreme. While everybody else is fumbling for a document, you go to Egypt and it's documents every damn where. You can't even run out of documents. You see what I'm saying? We ask them for one book. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go look. Nigga, where the book? Where the book's at? You understand? We ain't looking for no. We talking about mass literacy. So this is where we losing that, because we trying to make comparison on a philosophical level, and here we looking at a giant who then brought all the formulas for civilization, and we still and wonder why we in the predicament we in, because the formulas has already been, you understand, the formulas is exact. You see what I'm saying? It's exact. You can't play with it. Either you gonna do it or you're not gonna do it. You feel me? Civilization is not something you can fumble into. You see, you have to be, you have to be your best self. And so, family, I want y'all to take the time and look at a lot of these mausoleums in Dodge. I went out there to Dodge in Detroit. The Dodge brothers. Yeah, the one that make the Ram truck. Yeah, they got $1 million Egyptian mausoleum. Ram tough, and the ram come from Amen, the supreme deity of ancient Egypt. Yeah, so they got your culture. They go to the afterlife with your culture, and y'all running around with crosses, crescent and moons and all of this. And the same elite who know what it is, they go down in Egyptian regalia. Not because it's a fad, because they went in there and they saw the truth and they know better. You see, they know better. They ain't gonna play no games with that afterlife, because they looked at the Egyptians and they saw how advanced they was on every level. And they say the only way that they could be that advanced, that they got to have a personal relationship with the Most High. They got to have a personal relationship to be that advanced. And so people saying, we know they know. If anybody know, our ancestors know. You feel me? They know more than anybody on the damn planet. And that's a fact. So when you look at Woolworths, before I get off of here, Woolworth, another filthy rich European with an Egyptian mausoleum. And when I went to that cemetery, it's you got Elmwood, and it's another, man, listen here. This cemetery has so many obelisks in it. And when I'm talking about obelisks, I'm not talking about no little obelisks. I'm talking about obelisks tall as light poles. You see, tall as light poles. So if you imagine putting a small little plaque for a burial, man, one of my cousins passed, and for a little plaque that go in the ground, they want to charge you $800 for a little plaque that go in the ground. So if they charging $800 for a plaque, how much you think it'll cost to get an obelisk tall as a light pole? I'm talking about thick. You see what I'm saying? Talk to me. You can't even afford nothing like that. So, and I'm talking about, it was like, man, it was at least, at that tall, it was at least 40 to 50 of them obelisks in that particular cemetery. I haven't seen a cemetery like that one yet. You see what I didn't see obelisks, but not the height of the ones that I seen at Elmwood. This was ridiculous. That these people had to been cashing out major dough to get something like that. And so when people's is cashing out like that, then they know something about what's really going on, and they don't want to tell you. You see, and I'm talking about Jews. You look up on the obelisk, you look up on the Egyptian mausoleum, and it got a Jewish name on it. I say, well, Hannah. I say, oh, Hannah. Hannah on. I say, well, what happened to the Israelites and all of that? So they know something that you don't know. So you better wake up. Peep game, though. Check out the shorts I got up on the mausoleums, the Egyptian addiction that they got. But you better start, you better, before you reach that final stage of your life. You see what I'm saying? You want to know, you feel me, that you got the best opportunity to see salvation. You see, you know what I'm saying? So if you're going to roll the dice, I tell you what, I would roll it on the best. I tell you that. I wouldn't roll it on the less. I roll it on the best. I appreciate y'all, family. We're going to have a hell of a day today. Y'all stay tuned with the general. Check me out. Get a video a thumbs up, and I'll be back real soon. Boom. Black Power.